Well, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my community. I love, love, love my community. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, so everything about me is from a grassroots core system on working together as a community. Not only does my core believe that it takes village to raise children or to raise families or individuals, we need to be like that. I pray and I hope that someday that our world will go back to that belief system of it taking a village to raise children. I hope that I see that. So my community is this is where I live. This is where I've raised my children. It's where I link people when I can't, when they have needs that can't be met in here. I know my community. I love my community. I love the people in my community. In every modality, whether it's the teachers, whether it's the principals, whether it's the hospital staff, I love working together with them as a team to make people's lives greater and better. A community, sometimes you see community come together after disasters, and unfortunately that's stinky that it has to wait to a disaster to see that. However, I got to see it up close and personal when Hurricane Charlie came through. I lived in downtown Punta Gorda, and it was Category 5. Downtown was destroyed, and so here I am. I am in graduate school, learning to do what I'm doing now. Again, a social worker, grassroots is what I love it. So I'm learning that in school. Then we get it here in Charlotte County, and it was wiped out. And to anybody who doesn't know about Hurricane Charlie, that's seeing this film, it was a Category 5, and our downtown Punta Gorda was destroyed. And so I have 2 children at the time, and going to school full time and working full time and thinking, oh gosh, how's this gonna work out for me? and it worked out, I know and believe, because number 1 of my community coming together. Number 2, my community at the university coming together. My probably faith, spirituality, that played a huge part in it. But the lessons that I learned out of that were so great. There's a couple things that I won't ever kind of forget, and I've passed on, down from either, students that are at the university that have, since then come to me doing their clinical work or whatever, or whether just people in general about that we, number one, there comes a time in every single person's life that we all need people, and that is okay, and it is so brave to ask for help. That is so brave to be vulnerable and to be able to say, I need somebody right now. I can't do this alone. And my community during that time for me was that. And so, you know, again, our society kind of has it a little bit skewed that if we ask for help, then we're weak. No. It's exactly the opposite. It takes great strength and great bravery to ask for help. And I say that when my patients come in for the first time. Any patient that will watch this will ever know. I mean, they all know. I will say on that first time, thank you. Thank you for being brave enough. Thank you for having the strength. Thank you for having the courage to come in here and tell me, a complete stranger, your most vulnerable and scary times. Because people don't just come in here because, you know, they're having a great day.
One would be, the most important one, I think, would be to just be in the moment. And the other one would have to be, you can't control people, places, or things. You can only control what you do about them and your reaction to them. And I think in my relationship with my daughter, I was trying to control a lot of what was going on because so many things in her life were out of control. So Robin helped me sort of lay that to rest and just be at peace with whatever it was, you know, with whatever was going on. If you're not in the moment, then you can't fully comprehend what it is. If you can't feel it, if you can't heal from it. And you also can't see it for what it is. If you're angry, you can't see it for what it is. If you're hurt, you know, sometimes your emotions just cloud things. And so she kind of has taught me how to take a step back and just breathe and just really be in the moment.
If you were a house, if your body was a house or a temple, you know how people say your body's a temple. So our beliefs are the foundation. So if our beliefs or thoughts are all discombobulated or off or distorted or negative, then that, you know, goes to our thoughts, then our feelings, and then our actions. So our belief system is really key. It's our core. So when people come in to see me, you know, as they're talking, I'm listening very close for those kind of unconscious words that come out of their mouth that will tell me some of their distorted beliefs about themselves, so that I know kind of where to go to, because again, if their belief is something and it gives them a negative thought, then they're going to continue to act on that, and that's how their whole life goes. And most people that come in here to me have a lot of distorted thoughts and beliefs about themselves, unconsciously, I think, you know. And the trick is to, number one, recognize and to identify where they are and what they are. But that's really not enough. The next step is then I give you the tools to work on them. For example, their I ams, you know, because here's a story. A long time ago, I had a girl, she was a model, and literally a model. She got paid because she was stunning. And I remember her sitting on the couch and, you know, me doing my normal thing with her and talking to her the first time she ever came in, and her belief was she was ugly. Ugly, not only physically ugly, but ugly inside. That was her belief. Again, she was paid as a model. paid to go on TV, paid to go in magazines, paid to go in the movie. She was a paid model. So clearly that sounds probably crazy to somebody, you know, if they heard me tell this story. However, that was real for her. That was her belief system. So then her actions in her life, because that was such a belief of hers, continued to spiral downhill, because unconsciously she was doing things because she believed she was ugly inside and outside. And so that's just one example of the thousands, you know, of examples that have come in here and of people's core beliefs about themselves. So we have to recognize what they are, you know, identify, I guess, recognize, identify what they are, and then I give the tools, the I am, you know, I talked again last time. I am beautiful, I am kind, I am love, I am generous, I am patient, I am worthy, I am perfect just the way I am. I am all good, I'm love. You know, even when we make choices, we all make choices that aren't the greatest choices. I mean, that's human, that's how we learn. But we're not our choice, we're not our thoughts. We're not that, we're not our feelings. So, you know, our belief system is really, really core part of making the changes to have the life a person deserves to have in this world.
What made her different from me was her level of care and concern, going above and beyond. Instead of being required to be brought into court, she was coming into court voluntarily, which is very unusual for what we call service providers in our area. You know, usually they'll come in, but you have to request them to come in. They don't usually normally come in of their own free will, that they want to be there and want to help the children.
Actually referred by Maya's pediatrician over to Robin, and Maya started seeing her, and we were working on self-esteem, and she really kind of thinks out of the box, and she has little tools and homework to help you work through your feelings. And so each time that you leave, you go home with homework and you kind of report back the next week, and she sees if you've worked on it. And she also does usually like a little arts and crafts project for Maya to take home, so she can look at it and remember what she's supposed to do, and kind of use it as a coping mechanism, a tool to remind her of what she needs to work on.
She knows who she really is. She knows that she's smart and she's beautiful and she's funny and she's an artist and she's a great friend. So she knows that she can use her brain and keep saying that until the feeling goes away, or if she's feeling sad about something that somebody else said. So when would you use this?
When somebody's mean to me.
And can you tell Miss Robin who you are? Who are you?
A nice person.
You are a nice person. What else are you? Are you funny?
Yeah.
You're funny. What else are you? Are you beautiful?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you a good friend?
Yeah.
Are you kind?
Yeah.
Yes. Are you love?
Yeah.
Are you funny?
Yeah.
You're all of those wonderful things, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. That's a good one. Hi, my name is Robin Smith Velazquez. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and welcome to Sunshine Family Counseling. They're my favorite, which is really funny because anybody who knows me on a personal level, or any of my colleagues, would be laughing. They're going to laugh when they see that, when they see or hear me say they're my favorite. Because here's why: I was the person in my graduating class when I was in graduate school. All my colleagues, like I would say, I can't even remember none of them besides me saying, I don't want to work with kids. They were all wanted to work with kids. Every single last one of them. I'd be like, oh no, not me. I am not working with kids. Give me adults, give me trauma, give me whatever you want to throw at me, but kids, no. Now I cannot imagine my practice or my life without
Okay,
kids.
so why don't you be the teacher about feelings and thoughts? Will you teach me about feelings and thoughts?
The police are going to be in here. They're going to be watching it. This is going to be the office.
Okay.
This will be, and don't be angry or sad.
It's okay to be angry or sad. I just can't hurt anybody or myself when I'm angry or sad.
Nope.
No. But I can go play outside.
Yes, but it's not time to play outside yet.
Okay, or I could say, this is a feeling that's going to come and go because my brain is always there and I can always use my brain.
They come and go. Good
Come
job.
and go. Okay? Tell me
Good
another.
job.
Thank you.
And yes,
I would say probably 80% of my practice now is working with kids and families. And I just love them so much for a couple reasons. Number one, I always say kids just really keep it real. Like they just keep it real. And which is so funny. And some of the things that they say and come out with are just great. But kids are really our teachers. I believe that our culture and society has it backwards. They think that we as adults are kids' teachers. And I think it's backwards. I think kids are really our teachers for a couple reasons. Number one, they demand you to be present. They demand it. I have had children take, my face, make me look at them. They're demanding you to be present and be in the moment. I love them for that reason. I love them because they, keep it real. I just love them so much, and we have so much to learn from them. And I really hope that before I leave this world, that I see our culture go back to the thought processes of it taking a village to raise children, and that children are our teachers, and that they understand the importance of what children are doing by keeping them present and in the moment and keeping things simple. Kids keep things simple. Adults complicate stuff. Kids keep it simple, and it's just so cool. I just love them so much. Always the first word that comes to my brain when I think of couples is dynamic. That's always the first word, dynamic. And here's how it goes with couples. I get a phone call. Hi, Sunshine Family Counseling, this is Robin. On the other end of that phone call is, hi, I'm such and such, and if it doesn't work with therapy, we're getting a divorce. And I'm on the other end thinking, oh great, no pressure there, my heart goes. So they come in, and it's heated at times, it's dynamic, it's loud, and it's interesting and fun. And I say that kind of hesitantly because lots of my colleagues do not like to do couples work. And if you were ever to be in a couple session, you'd probably be like, no wonder they don't like to do couples work. I wouldn't like to do couples work either. Like sometimes you're thinking like, oh my God, I gotta take guard. But once they get that these are feelings, they're gonna come and go, which is always the basic with whatever person comes in this practice. and we get to the bottom of what's going on, and then they learn to act on their commitment and not their feeling, because they know from the very beginning that feelings are going to come and go. That's the first thing that's taught. And once they get that, and then we can go places. And I always say, when anybody comes in, whether it's couples or individuals, the phone call is always like the surfacey stuff, which to them it appears the surfacey stuff, and that's why I'm here, to figure out what's underneath of it. And the best example as I can give is, and this is how I kind of tell individuals or couples, I say, well, what's going on? And they'll say, well, she yells and he doesn't listen, and and all the kind of the surfacey stuff. So I say, it's like when you go to the beach, you see the umbrellas and you see the people and you see the beach balls and stuff like that, all the surface stuff. I'm looking for what that undercurrent is, way underneath. What's causing that roar, that riptide to, cause all this chaos? And when we figure that out, then we're going places. And but they're fun, because it's challenging, because you're not only dealing with the one person's individual stuff, because everybody's got stuff, so they've got to figure out what their individual pieces are to work on, and then then the couple piece to work on. And so I love it. And even though I'm taking guard and giving thanks for my sound machine out there that so nobody can hear, it's all good stuff. But I either have them really early in the morning or really late in the afternoon, because it's just dynamic and fun. Well, I love people. I've said it probably 100 times during this whole big process of this filming. Well, when I started my career, it started in trauma, and I don't know how that ever began, and I'm always going to say that everything is perfect just the way it is, and that's how I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, because this is where I am. But my professional career began in trauma work, and so for a long time, when people were seeing me, it was for pretty horrific events, and so it's been, and I still do that, but not every patient all day long. Now I have a variety of what we call the worried well, and when I say we in the mental health, or that field, the worried well, and but it's really kind of a cool thing when you can see anybody, whether they're going through a horrific trauma or whatever else they're going through, whatever life event that they may be going through. It's a really cool thing to be able to watch them go through that journey. And I've had people come in and literally sit in the chair and be able to say their name, and that's about it, and then just cry the whole time. And I have learned, and I teach my students and other practitioners that call me for just for recommendations or whatever, to meet a person where they're at, and if that session meant that they came in and they were able to say their name and that's it, and then they cried the whole rest of the time, that's where I'm going to meet them, and I'm just gonna just be there and meet them right there. But then to be able to watch a person go through their journey and to be able to get it where the thoughts, because remember, why do I always say, we're not our thoughts, we're not our feelings. They're both going to come and go. But being aware enough of their thoughts and being present enough so that when they do have those thoughts, that they can say, okay, this is really painful and this is really sucky and I don't like this at all. But I know it's a feeling. I know it's a thought. What am I supposed to be learning? How am I supposed to be growing? And I'm going to do this. I'm going to get through this. It is a really cool thing to be able to watch that happen. Sometimes it takes a few weeks, and sometimes it could take a year, and sometimes, it's a lifelong journey. But wherever it is and wherever they are is where I'm meeting them, and it's just a great, wonderful thing, and I love every second of it. Every second.
I want to say one more thing before you stop that.
Oh,
I
sorry.
want to,
Yeah.
So, I believe that, I've said it before during this documentary, that we cannot control people, places, or things. We can only control how we respond to the situations or people. And life is going to give us stuff. It is. People are going to give us stuff that's uncomfortable. And it's up to us to either create sunshine and smiles from it or rainstorms and frowns, I guess, So we always are going to have the ability to create sunshine and smiles. Always.